All right, so we're going to profile Christian Tutt, Auburn defensive back that was questionable whether or not he was even going to enter the NFL draft. And Deshaun Davis is going to break that down, former Auburn linebacker, now with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And, Deshaun, when we were off the scenes here, you said, why Christian Tutt? What's going on? Like, why did he make the decision that he did? He was all over the place with the decision. He enters the draft, didn't play in the Citrus Bowl, then began training for the NFL draft. Ended up in the transfer portal. Now he's back in the NFL draft. What do you think ended up happening? What do you think went into that decision? What is your thought process here?
I honestly don't know. He kind of was all over the place. I don't know what, finally resorted him to enter the draft. I do think he can be a successful guy because he shown that he done a lot on special teams, and he was also, capable of playing in that nickel role in our defense. But I think he was a guy that if he would have came back for another year and really did some good things on special teams while, making some plays on defense, he could really be in consideration, talking about, one of those early mid-round draft picks. But I don't know the whole story. It's kind of crazy, but I know his ability, so I think he'll be able to survive.
Yeah, and I know his dad had said that, it had been discussed that, his dad wanted to come back. He was a semester shy of finishing up. Going through his third defensive backs coach of his career, maybe another thing in question perhaps as to why, just a lot of turnover, things changing, so a lot of changes, but to your point, a guy that still has some room to develop, but, he certainly, something that coaches kind of have talked about, Deshaun being can cover anyone kind of guy. He's got that kind of mindset, and he goes out there and he works hard, he plays hard. He lacks a little bit of size, 5'11", 192. But he's got that versatility deal, and I would agree with me that he's the kind of guy that plays with a chip on his shoulder, right?
1,000%, and that's what get him a lot, gets him through a lot. And I was kind of that same guy, I wasn't athletically. I'm not going to run a 4.3. I'm not going to jump 40 inches, but I just play with that edge. And Christian Tutt is that same guy. He has that same grit. He hates to lose. And honestly, one of my favorite plays at Tutt, we were playing Southern Miss. And it was that rain. We got rained out. We started at like 11 a.m. We ended up finishing the game at like 9 p.m.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was crazy. But in the second half of that game, it was really, really muddy because of the weather. And Tutt ended up missing a tackle on the play. He got up. He was a little frustrated. And I grabbed his face mask. I was like, you got to let that go. You go to the next play. He was like, man, I got to make that play. I'm like, yeah, you got to make the play, but you can't sit here and harp about it. Go to the next play. You're going to make a play. They ended up calling the timeout. And I ended up talking to him again, post-snap and just getting his mind right. The next play, he went and caught an interception. And he ran down the sideline. He got the mud on his helmet. He just smiling, everything on his face, man. He was just came to me on the sideline, and he was just like, hey, I appreciate that. But I was just, in that moment, I knew he grew because mentally he almost checked out. But he realized even in that one snap, go to the next. If I mess up, just go to the next snap. I don't know what'll happen for me. So you miss a tackle, get down on yourself, re-pick yourself up. The next play, you catch an interception. And we almost lost that game. It's kind of funny to say that was a game-winning interception, actually.
Yeah, I definitely remember that. Man, that was an ugly day, a long day, a grueling day. My goodness. Oh, I can't even imagine for you guys. That's for sure. Having to suit up and like sit around all day. That's quite something else. Now you talk about frustration. Obviously, a young Christian Tutt trying to figure things out. Some of the frustration, and then grown and matured obviously throughout his career. But I'd like to kind of get a sense from you. I know he went out from Auburn's pro day. They had to shut things down a little bit early. He was a little bit frustrated about the fact that they were only able to do a couple drills in front of scouts. But, when you look at what he's capable of doing and, again, some of that versatility that he has, what kind of stands out to you? So if you were going to make a sales pitch, if you're Christian Tutt and you're saying, hey, I made this decision, I decide I'm going to the NFL, what is it about Christian Tutt that you can put on paper and really put out there on the field to say, hey, I am ready to compete at this next level?
Like the fact that he did survive in the SEC. And like I say, me really knowing Tutt, I can honestly vouch for his ability and his work ethic and his mindset. And when I say that, is the fact that he's a guy that he don't play football because football is fun for him. He enjoy it, but he know that it's a way of life for him also. So that gives him, like we were just talking about, that chip on his shoulder. A lot of people, when I make the statement that he's just a dog, they'll understand that, and that'll make it better for him too. But like I say, just having that mentality, man, that grit, just the fact that he don't like to give up completions. He don't like to miss tackles. You know, he don't like to not score when he's returning punts. You know, just the willpower of him holding himself to that higher standard. It'll be easy for him to latch onto an organization and latch onto their standard, because I guarantee you it's going to be lower than what he has for himself.
Download the Milo's mobile app today and receive a free cheeseburger after your first purchase.